Welcome back to the Thought Flat. Today's episode is about the new dads in our lives. When we compare the newer generations, dads, so millennials, Gen Zs, to older generations, you'll see that dads today are now more involved. I want to do a deep dive into the evolution of fatherhood and why this shift of having more involved dads really matters. I was at the grocery store the other day and I actually saw a dad with a baby carrier on carrying his daughter. I thought it was so sweet. Younger me would never have seen that. I even see dads take their children to school, pick them up, drop them off. And it's just so refreshing to see fathers involved in the lives of their children. That's when it hit me that we're living through significant shifts in family dynamics in modern history. So today we're going to be talking about cultural expectations, what expectations were like back then for boomers and Gen X compared to dads who are millennials and Gen Zs, and how this benefits moms. This just isn't just nice to have, it's much needed. It's transforming families, improving mental health, and literally changing childhood for the better. So let's get to it. Okay, let's set the scene. If you were a dad in the 1970s or the 80s, your role was pretty much defined. You were a provider and a disciplinarian. You went to work, brought home the paycheck. When you came home, you might play with the kids a little, grab a beer, sit down, and watch TV. And the day-to-day stuff, while your wife cooks a meal, cares for the children, and the house. So according to the Pew Research Center, in the mid-1960s, dads on average spent about 2.6 hours per week with their child. That is very low. And according to this research, it wasn't just like playing with them, it was like changing diapers, doctor appointments, and so on. So there was this concept that sociologists call separate spheres ideologies. And basically, it was the idea that men belonged in public spaces, workspaces. It was the idea that men belonged in the spaces of work and economics, while mothers were basically belonging spaces of the home. It was basically the idea that men belonged in public spaces of work, economics, while women are more behind the scenes in the private spaces of the home and children. And it wasn't just a preference back then, it was pretty much enforced in workplaces, societal expectations, and even psychological theories. Too much involvement of the dad would mess up children, which is crazy. I wish my dad was more involved in my school events, would come to parent conferences and get more involved, but it just wasn't an expectation then. And the phrase, wait till your father gets home, wasn't just a joke, it was a real thing. This idea of keeping the father separate from the children made the children fearful of the father. So that way they could hit the kids and discipline them. Unfortunately, many boomer dads didn't know how to be involved with their kids. I'm not saying that there's not really great boomer dads out there. I'm sure that it was just a lot harder back then to be one because of societal expectations, and there wasn't any guidance on how to be a father. And this isn't about blame, saying one's better than the other. This is about recognizing how far we've come. Research shows that fathers are spending triple the amount of time with their children today, which is great. What's even more important is the quality of time spent. We're no longer talking about dads babysitting their children, which is ridiculous at that point because clearly they also want children. There should be balance and partnership in raising the children. Studies suggest that millennials and Gen Zs and Gen Z dads are way more likely to show up to appointments, go to pediatric appointments, handle nighttime wakings, feedings, even help with mental load, managing and tracking meal preps and feeding schedules, coordinating activities, taking their children to the park, changing diapers. Psychologists found that children who spend more time with their dads develop better emotional regulation, social skills, and even improved academic performance. John has been really involved compared to my ideas of dads in the past. I set expectations first. I said, if you do not want to help me change diapers and do feedings and things like that, then we're not having children. And of course, we both want children because we love kids. And I told him that we have to take care of them equally as we can because I'm not going to be the one who gets burnt out and becomes the bad mom. And yeah, John helps me put him to sleep and feeds him, changes diapers. If he's throwing a tantrum, he'll carry him around. especially since I'm 22 weeks pregnant. I just can't anymore. And of course, John comes to every pediatrician appointment with me, which is huge. And I only have one car, but he helps me watch him while he crawls. And unfortunately, has to give up some gaming time, but honestly, it helps me so much mentally, and I'm very grateful. And I'm sure Ace is too, because he definitely wants to spend time with his dad. And for our next child, we're gonna have two, which we're trying to wrap our head around logistics, but his parents did it, so I think we can do it too. He does have a couple weeks of parental leave along with me. I have the full year again, which is great. I'm looking forward to that, especially that he said he would take the second ute and stay up all night while I'll sleep with Ace during the nighttime. And then I guess he'll sleep during the day, so we'll take shifts. We did not do that the first time around. We were awake at the same time, which is silly because we didn't know what we were doing. But now we're going to start taking shifts, and of course, we're going to have his mom's help and hopefully my mom's help too. I think it just works better when you are a team, and it leads to less resentment and better mental health for both of you. This more father involvement leads to more benefits for the woman. Multiple studies have found the greater the father involvement with their children leads to lower maternal depression, leads to lower depressional states for the mom, and a better quality of life. 2020 study on fathers' presence and involvement, especially for newborn babies, led to lower postpartum depression. For generations, mothers were expected to do everything for the child. Nowadays, you need two incomes to afford a home, so it's unfair for the mom to do everything. If you want children, you should be involved in your children's lives, even if the mother doesn't work, because we all know that taking care of children is a 24/7 job. And if you don't look at that, and of course, mothers deserve breaks too. You take a break during your shift at work, so watch good moms. And sadly, when you hear stories from older generations, moms were emotionally unavailable because they were constantly taking care of the child. A lot of them felt isolated because they didn't have anyone to share these feelings with and lost themselves in motherhood. And I think that's so sad because you should be enjoying your time with your child. It's only a couple of years before they're teenagers, and then they're all grown up eventually. So I think it's both parents' jobs to make this an enjoyable time for both parents. If you aren't actually involved and do the work to take care of your child, then you don't understand the emotional labor and the physical labor it takes, so you won't understand her burdens. That can be very isolating in itself, that she can't confide in you because you can't relate. So when dads step up to be true partners and they don't ask what they need to do, they just do it, that gives mom so much more breathing room needed in their busy lives. And studies show that moms who take breaks gain back that time, energy, and get to fill their cup again, because honestly, it's probably depleted by the end of the day, honestly by midday sometimes. Okay, so what actually shifted between these generations? Of course, it's a multitude of things. One, the women's movement was huge. So as more moms entered the workforce, the old model of moms doing everything just didn't make any sense. And with two working parents, it just meant that someone needed to step up in the household. And science shows that babies need emotional security and someone to pay attention to them. Fathers are just as capable as mothers in providing that when given the opportunity. Parenting is truly a skill, and fathers can learn it just as well. 3, pop culture. Just think about all the movies that came out. Daddy Daycare, The Pursuit of Happiness. It's no longer showcasing dads who are just bumbling idiots and don't know how to even change their baby's diapers. Like, even on social media, TikTok, there's even hashtag dad talk, where I see dads like showing what they do on a day-to-day routine, taking care of their children, changing diapers, making sure that they're actively engaging in activities. And I think it's so refreshing because we need to see more dads do that. And it needs to be a standard. And honestly, it's nice to see fathers be proud of that. It's nice to see dads sharing their journey and being proud of what they're doing. They're raising their children to be amazing adults and supporting their mothers, which I'm sure they're just as great. And finally, I think this is huge. Millennials and Gen Z saw their mothers struggle. Being a mother, taking care of the household, and holding so much resentment from cleaning, doing chores, picking up the kids, cooking meals, changing diapers, bathing them. It's just so much. Too much for one person to handle entirely. Many of us saw the impossible expectations on mothers to be perfect and provide everything from activities to making holidays perfect and social gatherings, and just these unrealistic expectations when the partner wasn't involved. So generational empathy has been super powerful. This progress isn't universal. There's so many outdated policies out there. A lot of workplaces, even in Canada, think the mother is the primary caregiver and don't often offer parental leave to fathers. Parental leave in general in the States is abysmal. There's just this general cultural shift that needs to happen. Right now, like fathers who do the bare minimum get praised while the mother has unrealistic expectations of her. And there's still this cultural double expectation. Fathers who do the bare minimum get praised while mothers who do the same thing, if not more, they're just expected to do that. I think at the start, fathers definitely need to be praised so that they do more of it. Hopefully we get to a place where it's a bit more equal. And we're getting there. We need structural changes, better parental leave, workplace flexibility. Workplace flexibility is huge for either parent to take off some time and just go to appointments, because if you ever had kids, you would know that there's so many appointments you have to take in, vaccinations, checkups, dentist appointments. They're very crucial because you need all those vaccinations. The shift is definitely there. When I see dads at parent conferences and the parks playing with their children, it just gives me so much hope. And seeing these TikToks of dads like doing most of the work, they're probably not showing what the mom does. It just gives me so much hope for the future. And honestly, with John's help as a baby, it's been a huge help. It honestly made me love being a mother. So I really appreciate and thank him for that. Here's what we need to remember. Having dads involved with your children is not just nice to have, it's essential. The research is crystal clear from mental health to family health. It's just crucial that the dad is involved. We're living through a revolution of what it means to be a dad, and by extension, a true parent. So if you're a dad watching this and you're very involved in your child's life, they're going to be forever thankful and grateful. And so is the mom. We need support systems, especially in this day and age. Like every marriage, a strong relationship and partnership is so much needed. So keep doing what you're doing, and just remember that not everyone is lucky enough to have that. Some are single moms out there. And do your best to support your wife and be involved in your child's life, because it just makes it more fulfilling to see that. So if you found this helpful, subscribe to the Thoughtful Advocate YouTube channel, my podcast, and give this a thumbs up for more videos like this. Of course, drop a comment below and follow me on Instagram at Thoughtful Advocate. Thanks for listening and watching. Okay, so today's sponsor is Kind Laundry. Just kidding, they're not really a sponsor, but I do have an affiliate code. Kind Laundry use natural ingredients, and it actually comes in these sheets. So much more useful than liquid laundry detergent, because that stuff gets messy. With Kind Laundry, you can bring this anywhere. It's literally in a box, pack in your suitcase, and it's that easy. You can get 10% off by using code ZeroWasteCute.